Hey, this is Scott. We're at video number three. I was a little delayed for video number two. Finally got that out. And then I asked some questions about what people wanted to see next. And Ahmed was the first one to respond. He wanted to see some use cases. So that's where we're going to go with this video. We're going to go quickly to a review to see what we've covered so far, hopefully. All right, so this was video number one, which were high-level skills, basic talents, acumen to become a business analytics specialist. That was video number one, and you can see that, and I'll create a playlist for all these to make it easy. And then video number two, just came out yesterday, what you should know technically. So I covered, and it was just a riff. It was just a very informal, took some books out of my library and shared some of the more technical things that I felt like you should know, and what not to know. There's certain things that you don't need to go into in calculus, but you need to know some things as well. So anyway, I tried to pare it down to make it meaningful there. So this is what I want to talk to you about today, which is use cases and applications, and there may even need to be a follow-up because this is a big topic. But yeah, Ahmed called it, and one thing I wanted to point out was that the number one skill that you really need is for any business analytics professional. The thing that is most needed, and it's just so hard to find, it is people that can go in and talk on the business side of the organization, talk to the people that need a solution, translate that problem, formulate that problem, put it into writing, into a project or some sort of proposal, and then have that thing and know certainly what the capabilities are on the analytics side, and then to merge the two, then take it up to the project manager or whatever and propose a project wrapper around that. It's the ability to communicate both sides of the equation that make you so valuable, to know the business side enough to have a good conversation with the business professional, and then also know enough on the technical side to be able to translate the two pieces. Hopefully you get that. All right, so I'm going to start off with, since we're talking about what I call use cases or applications, I wrote a book specifically. This is the third book in a series, and this entire book is on this subject, and it's about use cases. You'll pick up from some of the other stuff that I'm saying, but we'll talk about this in a minute. I won't dominate up front with it. So let's see. The interesting thing about search is I don't believe a lot. Yeah, let me step back. If I were to have to choose between reading a book on a subject that an author has spent thousands of hours thinking about, versus going on and searching a topic on the internet, reading a blog or something where somebody has spent just a little bit of time and they have a little bit of depth of knowledge, I'll always go towards the book. And the other part of that is an author, if you have something to say about a particular topic, data, analytics, coding, whatever, you kind of know the whole space. Whereas if you do a search, you're getting a very narrow view. And personally, one of my problems is when I go in and I mean I use search all the time. Don't get me wrong. But if I don't formulate the question correctly, right, I get frustrated because it's not giving me back what I want, and it's on some of it's on my side because I'm not asking the question in the right way. But then also some of it's just the garbage that's sitting out there on the internet. So that's my perspective. Now, when it comes to use cases, Sometimes you can find some interesting information on the internet. Now, caveat emptor, that's buyer beware. You have to be aware of the biases. And I used to work for a commercial software company, right? So everything that I did, when my view of the world at that time was everything that we did internally. Our solution was the best, the way we approached it was the best, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we had certain use cases which were our target use cases, and we approached them in a certain way. So take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, if you can formulate a good search, there is some fairly decent information out there on the internet. Just be aware of the biases. In fact, that's a general rule these days, is everybody's coming from a certain slant, different perspective. Just know where they're coming from. It's not right. It's not wrong. I mean, I didn't try to take advantage of anybody when I was selling software, but I just saw it from, that little sliver that we were involved in. Okay, so when you're looking at use cases, one of the important career questions that you'll have is whether you want to be on the inside of an organization, you want to be working inside as a business analytics professional, or do you want to work, let's say, for a consulting company, right? So there's advantages to both. On the inside, you get much deeper into the problems, you get much more involved with people, the relationships that you have will be much deeper. That's great. But then you're viewing things from one perspective. There's the variety is greater on the outside. So if you like a lot of variety, if you're working for a consulting firm, or even a solutions provider, then you'll get the broader perspective, because every week you'll be talking to somebody different. The problem there is sometimes you don't go ever deep enough. Maybe you'll architect a solution, but you'll never go deep enough to even find out whether the solution you proposed worked, right? Because you're maybe architecting the very top part of it, so you're not down into the details. So just keep that in mind as well. And then the dimensions of use cases really, they vary. So I try to capture just a few things here. Number one is the size of the organization, right? Small organizations have different problems that they're working on. They may not be as innovative as some of the organizations that are larger, because they can hire a lot more people to go after these analytic problems. The other thing is the maturity, right? So how long has the organization been around? What's their culture? Do they have a culture of innovation and constant change, or they're more of a commodity organization where they've been doing the same thing for 40 years and they move very, very slowly? So that's something to think about. Where are they on the analytics and data maturity continuum, right? Some people, are doing things on the very cusp. They got data lakes, and they are architecting everything in the cloud. Then, and then you have other ones that are, they're using database technology that they used 20 or 30 years ago. So, and then analytics as well. So you have to be aware of what that maturity is. I had a dialogue that came up, so sorry about that. I lost my train of thought. So industry, are you in the service industry, or are you producing a physical product? Are you in distribution industry, which I would consider a service industry? Function, is it finance? Is it marketing, operations, logistics? So just, think about these, especially when you're in an interview and you're asking about it. But use cases, let's kind of rip on that for just a minute. So finance, it's a lot about reducing risk, right? When you work inside a finance organization, it's all right, let's stay there. My mind jumps. All right, so risk mitigation, right? You're creating models where you're trying to mitigate risk. How you might do that? Fintech you've got all these customers that work for eBay, PayPal, and we had, people that were using our platform, and there's a lot of questionable actors, and so we had to be able to identify, is someone legit or not? And even legit people may be legit for a while, and then something happens and they take in a bunch of bad, they process a lot of bad orders or whatever. So risk modeling overall, and that could be credit risk, that could be a lot of things in the financial. The other big thing there is forecasting. Forecasting, I'm amazed. It is tried and true. It's there for the long term. So those are some of the financial things that you might get into. The marketing piece is all about, well, some of the big use cases are upsell, cross-sell, sales and marketing, I should say. So, when you have someone, how can you get them to buy more? You can either have them buy across different products or at a higher grade, higher level of product. So being able to identify the features or variables that go along with that customer, and then you can select and present the best product to them. Amazon does a great job of that, certainly. And then then part of that, you'll have customer reps that are actually on the phone with someone, and or salesperson in general. I've dealt with a lot of them, and so what on an internal platform, what can you present to a salesperson that's having a face-to-face with someone, based upon what they're hearing, visual BI and everything else that goes along there. Operations, streamline, cost reduction. When it comes to, let me just recap real quick. Finance, that's mostly about risk mitigation overall, even in forecasting, is you're trying to make sure that you don't have any hiccups or anything else. No unforeseen problems. Marketing overall, say in sales, is about maximizing revenue, increasing market share. It's about growth. It's about making more money. Operations is about reducing cost, right? So the way that you make money in an organization is you either make more overall, what you're bringing in, but then the other factor is how much does it cost you to keep up operations and keep you to support the business. So operations is more about reducing the cost of what you're doing. So that could be doing things more efficiently. It could be forecasting labor. It could be assigning the right people to the right jobs. It could be making sure that you don't have any scrap or wastage in your manufacturing lines, etc. And then logistics is all about optimizing those flows of product. Amazon is a great example. They have that really figured out. It's amazing what they do, in my mind. So again, I'm going to come back to this. This is about the maturity level, right? So I take into the fact, and I go through use cases for the novice. I go through use cases for the explorer. I go through use cases for the practitioner, which is the next level up, leaders and innovators. Certainly not every use case, but there are some interesting use cases in here. My perspective of the data maturity as well as the analytics maturity. And this is not a commercial plug. It's heartfelt. I mean, I have spent a lot of time doing that stuff. So, yeah, that's that. And then I'm trying to think anything else. Well, if you want, if you want me to come back, I certainly can, and expand upon what I've written or more use cases in general. I mean, I guess it just depends on how useful this playlist is and what people are saying. I'm always willing to spend the time with you if it's valuable, but then I don't want to make these videos if if it's not. So I need to hear your feedback. So this is what I'm thinking about for the next video. So business concept, what I was thinking about doing is more of a vertical thing, and it wouldn't be use cases, more it'd be more along just finance in general, what those functions are doing, maybe marketing, what those general functions do, and maybe operations, logistics, engineering, research and development, whatever. I could do something kind of like, here's an organization and it may have these pieces. Also, I could do more of these. I just said that. I was also thinking about doing one on coding and computer science. So more on that. And I've got some good references there. Also, visualization, I could do that. I could do storytelling. I could do presentation skills. So bottom line is I want to hear from you. Let me know what you want to hear and see. And yeah, hopefully this is meaningful. See you next time.